Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you tonight to some Tormenta Talk. We have here with us Zach and the Gaffer Scotty. Tonight we're going to be talking a little USL2 action. So I'm going to keep this intro nice, short, and sweet, and let's kind of get into it. Let's start with Scotty. How's things been going? We haven't had you on in a while. Give us a little bit of rundown on what's been going on since you got introduced, some of the workouts, some USL things. Just start us off here, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Obviously, it's been a little while. I think this is the first one that I've been on in 2026,
Yep.
leading up to obviously the summer season and what we got going on. And obviously, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, prepping for the season. Obviously, everyone's aware now that we're competing in a totally different competition this summer. So, sorting out all the logistics that come with that, with a new organization that we're now obviously going to be dealing with. So, a lot going on behind the scenes, prepping for that, and then heavy on recruitment right now, getting the team shaped up, getting the team ready to go, and making sure that we're when May 23rd rolls around, we're ready to hit the ground rolling, and we're ready to compete, we're ready to perform, and just making sure everything's in order for that.
Yeah, so you had talked about USL2. What's the biggest difference between USL2 and the NPSL we were at last year?
Obviously both are pre-professional leagues that operate, primarily over the summer months. So it gives the college guys an opportunity to stay fit and stay sharp and compete at the highest possible level pre-professionally, as I said, over the summer. And NPSL is one of those, we had some good years there, and we obviously had a lot of success, but it was time to try something new. And USL2 presented a great opportunity for us as a club, and we kind of reflected on what was going to be best for us moving forward. And it ticked all the boxes for us. Obviously, not to say that we had a bad time with NPSL. We had a great time there. We had a great time competing, and obviously had some success as a club, but it's time to move forward. As a club, we want to move forward, only forwards, never backwards. And USL2 presented us with that opportunity. And ultimately, it is the, I guess, premier pre-professional competition over the summer. A lot of players that go through and roll through the USL2 system over the summer go on to get drafted in the MLS. Players end up with professional contracts, whether it's USL Championship, USL1, or even abroad. So it just provides a great opportunity for the players that come in, for them to step foot on the pitch this summer. If they perform, there's going to be people looking. It's going to be great exposure. So, it's where we want to be as a club, and it's a great selling point for me trying to recruit players and bring players into this club and continue to build off of the success we've had the last few years. And I think that, having that name and that staple of USL2 is just going to be amazing. It's going to do wonders for the club on and off the field.
Oh, that's great, man. I mean, I know new territory, new challenges, things like that. So I know USL has different rules than NPSL than we did last year. What are some of the rule changes that you've come up against here that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you coaching this year? Or there's anything going to be that's better for you coaching this year? Anything like that?
Yeah, so USL is obviously part of the USL pathway here in the US. You've got USL Championship, USL1, and USL2, and everyone is kind of, for those of you that are not aware, in 2028, I believe it is we're going to start to implement the promotion relegation system, which I think is a long time overdue for football in the United States. I think that it's such a fantastic way to operate professional football. You see it all over the world. And I think the US has just been a little bit lacking there, but we're obviously starting to influence that. So just having that umbrella of USL, I think is just going to, like I said, it's where we want to be. But that being said, there are more rules and regulations. NPSL, there's a bit more freedom and flexibility with roster, with recruits, people that are being signed. USL have some more rules, as I said, about the nationality of players, the ages of players. As a competition, we're really, the USL are really trying to hone in on local talent.
Yeah.
I think that's one way that football is going to continue to grow in this country is if we actually prioritize local talent and local players. So, in NPSL, if I want to field a squad of 30 players and every single one of those players are from outside the United States, I can. But in USL, it's a little bit different. So there's some rules in place, which has obviously altered and affected my recruitment. And it's definitely more geared towards kind of local talent and local products, which we could talk about in a little bit. But I've been able to sign some local people from here, which is obviously fantastic news for the club. But, it's one thing that USL is going to be a little bit different as opposed to NPSL.
All right, Zach, do you want to catch people up on what relegation is for the people that don't know in the States?
Yeah, so each league is its own unique where it starts and ends. But if you're at a lower league and you do great and win, you move on up. If you're at the top league and you struggle, you flounder, you move on down. So it increases a lot of stakes in the leagues. It helps reduce tanking. In American sports, that's the biggest talking point right now is teams want to tank. Teams want to do poorly to try to get better draft picks or whatever. But this dissuades that. This allows teams to be competitive week in, week out.
Yep. Financial obligations, financial issues there. As an American, especially American like football team, American football owner, trying to understand that where if you lose, you're going to get dropped down a tier. They're like, oh my God, I spent billions. What are we doing? But in Premier League and several other soccer leagues across the world, it's commonplace. And I think this is the great challenge. Scotty, you just spoke so highly of it. This is something that our sports have needed for a long time. I would love to see someone like the Midland Rockhounds out here elevated up levels because they've done so well in baseball. Now, the same thing can happen here with us in USL too. As this relegation stuff happens, we can work our way up to USL, USL 1, USL Premier, wherever way we may go. We just, win our games, win our conference, and just keep going on up.
Take American football as an example. As an Australian that lives here full time, when I first came over here, I didn't know the first thing about American football. I watched my first game and I was like, what the heck is going on here? There's so much going on, so many rules, so many kind of parts of the game I didn't understand. But I ended up learning it and I fell in love with it. And I love American football. How many times do you see towards the end of an NFL season when a team has nothing to play for? They've had a shocking year, shocking season, and those are just gimmick games. Half the stadiums are empty. There's nothing to play for. Whereas if you've got some consequences, if you're at the bottom end of that, I think it would just give a lot more, it would just give more to play for these clubs and these organizations. And I think that, it may never happen in a sport like American football, but it's happened all over the world to great success in our football. And I think it's just a great step forward for football in the United States, especially hosting the World Cup this summer. The hype's just going to continue to build. Then you throw in promotion relegation, it's just going to keep climbing, keep stepping, and hopefully it puts the US on the map sooner rather than later.
Who's your American football team, Scotty? Go ahead and tell them.
Carolina Panthers. So proud.
You know a little bit about tanking, don't you?
We're not going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys on this podcast.
They made the playoffs.
I didn't bring it up. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm like, from a place of experience of a team that has done poorly, that has lost games on purpose to try to get better draft picks.
Yeah, so, we've done that 9 out of the last 10 years. Okay, we can move on now.
And he had a great season last year, I'm saying.
Exactly.
So look, yeah. Okay, so we'll stop twisting the knife a little bit. All right.
Prime example of my team's misfortune. Carry on.
So we're going to edit this part out? Is that what we're doing?
No, it's fine. I'm proud. All right.
So let's talk a little bit about some of your signings, Scotty. Zach, I haven't got to see the podcast that you and Cam did. I'm excited for the great work. So you know a lot more about these players than I do. I'd like to hear from the Gaffer himself a little bit of the highlights of who he signed, some good stuff, maybe some insider information. It depends on how much you can talk. I don't know how much the people will let you say, but I'm going to leave the floor to you here for a minute.
Yeah, Zach, why don't you tell me some of the lads that you spoke about on the previous podcast, and then I can give you a little bit more insight.
Yeah, we talked about the 3 returners that have been announced so far, Dan, Justin, and Ryan. And me and Cam were talking. Those are, if we were drafting it from the team last year, those are 3 of the first names taken. Those guys worked hard. They played well. They played great. So, we were ecstatic about those 3 coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it just speaks volumes for the experience that these lads had last summer, on the field, off the field. And that 3 key figures, three of the guys that were the first name on the team sheet week in, week out have agreed to come back to Midland for a second year. I think, obviously that speaks volumes for the club. And I'm just excited to have them back. I was very, particular about who I approached to come back. There were some boys that, I really wanted to come back. Some, I had a great relationship with everyone last summer, but at the end of the day, as I said to you before, we're always moving forwards, never backwards. And so, sometimes there needs to be sacrifices, and sometimes, we need to make decisions as a coaching staff that are going to be in the best interest of the team. And like I said, I had great relationships with all the boys last summer, but, onwards and upwards. But those three guys, Ryan, Justin, and Adam, were such critical points. But take the performances that they showed on the field away from it. They're just great guys.
Yep, absolutely.
Really, really coachable, good individuals, great families, come from good stock. Guys that I was really just stayed in touch with as soon as the summer ended. And that's a big thing for me is not just building the relationship initially, but sustaining that relationship. A lot of times, it's very easy with Summer League, with USL2, with MPSL. Once these boys go back to college, I go back to my, my regular life, my regular job, just for those, contacts to fall by the wayside. But, I made an effort with them. They made an effort with me, and they made it very clear from the beginning, as soon as I was re-signed to come back for 2026, that they wanted to rejoin me.
Awesome.
And like I said, they're just great characters. They're great guys. I know I can trust them on the field. I've seen it. You've seen it. Everyone around this club has seen what they can do on the field, but not many people understand the character off the field. And that's a huge part of why I wanted to bring these boys back.
Yeah, that's one thing we noticed going through the other players you've signed. I mean, Liam Pritchard, team captain. Ian Silva was a team captain. I mean, there was several team captains on there. Ben Buckley was the team captain. And I mean, he at Mercyhurst. We have another Mercyhurst Ryans on the team we've had in the past. And I mean, those guys are great guys. And if you're the captain of a team with them, that speaks loads about who you are, how you work, your work ethic. So yeah, that's one thing we noticed with the leadership.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that you've always gotten with me. I love my captains. I love my leaders. I love bringing guys in that have that experience of leading a program, and bringing guys like that all together. It just makes my job easier. It takes a load off my plate, my staff's plate, when you've got guys that are natural leaders. And, at the end of the day, I can only name one captain, one vice captain throughout the season, but you don't need to have the armband to be a leader. You don't. It's not the be all and end all of leadership is wearing the armband, and I relied heavily last summer on guys that were not captains. They were not, in that conversation, but I never had to worry about them. And so, bringing in leaders, bringing in guys with experience of leading very, very high level top tier collegiate programs into this environment, which is, an even higher level, from a competitive standpoint, it's just going to benefit us. Yeah, guys you mentioned there, Liam, Ian, these guys have been at very, very high level programs, and not just involved and playing, but leaders. So I expect the same. I expect the same mentality. I expect them to come here and just hit the ground running. Lad being announced tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., another captain. So I think there'll probably be around 12 or 13 of the whole roster this summer will be captains of their respective colleges. So about 50%, I think.
And it's a 30-man roster?
It'll be less this year. We're looking at around 26 this year.
So half the rosters, they're team captains?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that bodes well. Excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. And like I said, I just like working with those boys. And, those are the kind of guys that I know I can get the most out of, that have that experience in a leadership role.
There was one guy we wanted to ask. We didn't have he had just gotten announced. We hadn't gotten to look at his tape, but Ivan Juarez, hometown guy from Odessa. What you thinking about him? Excited for that one?
Yeah, so he
let's hear this one.
Yeah, no, he came across my radar a few weeks ago. As a local kid who's been living overseas. He came up through the FC Dallas Academy. And then instead of kind of going the college route, which is like most of the boys that come to West Texas FC, they're obviously college players. He decided to give up that college route and just try and play. And he's just bounced around 4 or 5 countries, South America, Europe, and just gave it a crack. So his experience internationally and his perspective as an international semi-professional player is huge and something that you don't often see at this level. And he reached out to me and I said the same thing to him that I have every single player that approaches me, and especially a local guy. Come to the open tryout. Show me what you've got. That's the big thing that I kind of encouraged him to do. He was the first one to sign up, and And yeah, he impressed. He really impressed. He did a great job. Again, take the ability out of what happened in the open tryout. He was just a good guy. Where when I split them up for small-sided games, possession-based games, he was the one talking, rallying his teammates. Like I said, that international experience, that international perspective, it showed. One in his ability and two in his leadership characteristics. So I'm really excited about Ivan. He's a great kid. He's a good player. And I'm really excited to potentially showcase the talent that isn't offered here in West Texas. And the open trial was a good indicator that we do have talent. And it's just about finding it, unpacking it, and getting the most out of it, which is what I hope I can do with Ivan this summer.
Yeah, I know you just
Looking
talked
forward
about
to
it,
it.
but yeah, the USL2 being able to promote American talent, things like that, I'm really excited for that because, I mean, you don't realize there are kids in your backyard that are capable of balling out like that. So hopefully that helps get
Absolutely.
some other stuff rolling.
Yeah, and one thing I really highlight on my open tryouts is I'm not looking for the kids that are going to do 65 step overs, take on the whole team and score. That's not what I'm looking for.
No.
At the same time, though, I'm looking for kids and players that can express themselves. But expressing yourself doesn't mean doing the fancy things. It means doing the simple things and doing it right. And that's exactly what I got from Ivan. Like I said, I encourage him to express himself and show his talent and show his ability. But sometimes doing the minimal is what I need to see. If you can do the simple things right, that to me shows kind of a level of discipline as a player that is what I'm looking for.
Yep. How many players do we have announced right now, guys? Does anybody have a running tally on that?
12. Sorry, 12. I got
And
a sheet open right here.
perfect. And y'all got all but one done on the last podcast, correct?
Yeah, and then the two announced last week. So we didn't get to
Okay.
Thomas Butkovich. Not sure how you say it. The
Mhm.
keeper. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on Tomas?
He's big. He's big time. I'm very excited for Thomas. I love my Aussie keepers. Obviously
We're starting a collection
Keegan.
like Pokemon.
100%. And these are rare cards, trust me. No, Keegan was brilliant last summer for us. Obviously, you guys saw the impact that he had on the
Yes.
team, and he was one of the first calls I made, actually, asking if he could come back again this year. And he's graduating, he's moving on to bigger and better things, and I'm really proud of him. And I've still got a great relationship with that kid. And it obviously meant that I was going to be kind of in the market for a new keeper. And I love my Aussies, and Tommy is. He's a brilliant addition. He's a starter at Drake University, which is obviously a top Division I program in Iowa. He came over from Australia and he started every game as a freshman and sophomore at the Division I level. And I think that's
crazy.
Speaks volumes for his talent and his level. He's explosive. He's a very, very good shot stopper. And he's an absolute character. He's an absolute character. You guys are gonna love him when he's here in town. I think he's going to be a hugely positive influence on this program. And he actually already has a connection. He knows Ryan, knows Merchich from back home. So he's not coming in blind. They have that connection from home. And obviously Ryan being a defender and Tommy being a goalkeeper, to have that connection already before the boys set foot in Midland is just big. It's one less thing I have to worry about with forming that connectivity with my backline, So, but no, Tommy's brilliant. He's a great addition. I've got two other keepers yet to be announced that are coming as well that are top as well. It's one thing this club I think has done very well in the last 3 years is have a very strong goalkeeping unit, and this upcoming summer is definitely no different. So Tommy's a great signing, but I've got two other guys coming in and they're gonna be very solid as well.
That's awesome, man.
Position you want locked down. You don't have to worry about that one. So
absolutely. And Tommy was one of my first signings, so I wanted to make sure that I did, bring in an elite level goalkeeper right off the bat, and then just build further up the field, as it were. There's a fair few defenders and midfielders that have been announced, but there's some forwards still to come in. So,
yep.
Well, good
Anybody
deal. So yeah, the next guy would be Liam Kervick. That was another one I wanted to ask about because I know he played with Pritchard at Midwestern State, but him and Ben Buckley, it looked like they both played at Cobb. Did they play together or overlap at all over there?
They did. They crossed paths in Ireland. Yeah. Ireland's a relatively small kind of football community there. Very similar to Australia. I love my Aussie players because in some way or another, there is a connection. Whether one of these boys was coached by someone that I played with, or someone that I am familiar with, or whatever. And these connections are everything. They're absolutely everything to me. And so Kervik was another one that, I had already made that first connection with Pritchard and then also Ben Buckley. And both had, fantastic things to say about him. And no, I'm very excited for him. Obviously Midwestern State here in Texas, here in Wichita Falls, just won a national championship, first in the program history, and both Kervik and Pritchard, both the Liams, played a huge role in that squad, in that team. Essentially Liam was on the left and Pritchard was on the right for that championship winning team. So to have both of those offensive weapons coming here, playing together after already playing for a couple of years together at the college level is just massive. It's massive. I've already told them they're going to be roommates as well. I want them attached at the hip. And I think that they're going to be, and I think they're going to be pivotal roles for us this summer. And they both offer something different as wing players, as players in that attacking third and that final third. They both offer something different. And I think that's really important as well. I'm not bringing two guys that play a very similar style. They offer something completely different, and both of them are quality. They're quality on the ball. They can make something happen. Their stats have proved over the last couple of years how dangerous they are when it comes to goals and assists, both at the MPSL summer level and at the collegiate level. So, bringing that experience, Pritchard was captain at Duluth last summer. Obviously one of the, most highly regarded MPSL teams, and Kervik at Michigan Rangers, who made the Final Four, and he was the top scorer there with 12 goals last summer. So both of these boys have, played at the highest level here in the summer. And to have them both together is really exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, watching that national championship game was a treat. Beautiful game.
Yeah.
I mean, Pritchard scored the ceiling goal at the end. So yeah, if anybody's listening and wants to watch a great game, it's on YouTube. Go look it up. It was phenomenal ball to watch.
Absolutely, yeah, and these high level Division II programs, they'll mix it with any Division I program in the country. I'm absolutely sure of that. The players there, and I've always prided myself on the recruitment, not just gearing towards Division I players. Heck, the player of the year in our conference last summer was at junior college, Alberto. So, there's talent in JUCO, there's talent in NAI, there's talent in D1, there's talent in D2. Heck, there's talent in D3, okay? Yep. Like, there's talent in any division. There's elite level players. It does not matter what division you play. I don't care. I don't look at that. I care more about the person. I care more about what you're willing to give this summer. And at the end of the day, my squad is made up of all divisions. So...
Love Good deal. Yeah, there's one more guy we haven't got to as of recording this, and it's Marko Martskankowski, another American guy. What's he look like? We haven't had a chance to dive into his film yet, but
he's top. I'm very excited for Marko. He's a phenomenal kid. From my first phone call with Marko, I was interested right away. I'd watched a little bit of film. Not enough to make a decision, but after my phone call with him, I wanted to sign him. This was before even watching a full game. He's just a great kid. Very mature, very disciplined, just really striving to work hard. And he's a fullback. He's pretty versatile. He can play anywhere along that back line, primarily as a right or left back. And he had a stellar time at the University of Illinois Chicago, which is a fantastic Division I program up in Illinois. He had a great time there, and he was up for a new challenge, so he just shifted over and he just started this spring actually with Purdue Fort Wayne, another very, very elite level Division I program in the Horizon League. And I know the coach that signed him from UIC has very high expectations for him. And he mentioned that Marko's a very talented kid, a very, very hard worker, and he's the kind of guy that you just he's going to be very coachable. And I know that. I can see that. I've spoken to people that have kind of commended him for that. So, he's a very stereotypical elite American player. What I mean by that, he's very athletic as a fullback. He's up and down the field. He's got an engine on him, can run for days, technically sound, plays very, very simple, and just an all-around good guy, good character. So I'm very excited for Marko. I think he's going to be a big, big impact for us this summer.
That's awesome. You got any breaking news you want to put out there for us? Anybody you want to announce before the club puts out, or are you going to get in trouble if I push you too hard on this one?
Yeah, maybe. But I'll tell you right now, the lad we're announcing tomorrow, obviously it will be announced by the time this podcast goes up,
Nope.
I'm sure. So no, okay. Well, the lad we're announcing tomorrow is one I'm more excited about than anyone. Is an English midfielder, captain of another captain, and captain of one of the highest level collegiate programs in the country, and he was captain of one of the highest MPSL programs in the country last year as well. So I'm very excited for him. Another natural leader, another guy has been one of the most consistent college players over the past 3 years. So really, really excited again for this one. And honestly, the signings that have come thick and fast starting from this week. We've been doing Monday, Wednesday announcements, but we're going to start to do 2 a day, just so we can get everyone announced, everyone released. And then another little sneak peek is we're not done announcing returning players. We've got returners still to be announced. So
Yeah, let's go.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's always good to
Best
see
time of
some
the year.
familiar faces.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. All these players coming in. It's like an advent calendar every week. At 10 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, I'm refreshing my Instagram looking to see. So yeah, it's a ton of fun going through that.
Yeah, I can't
You
wait.
should have picked up by now. 10 a.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. That's when the announcements go up. So
Yeah. I can't wait for everybody to get in town, man. Like you were talking about getting to meet some of these guys. That's one of my favorite parts of these players coming around is the different personalities, the different countries, the different, just profiles of people. It's so much fun. And if you're someone that's watching this, hasn't been out to a game to talk to the players after a match, come and say hi. These guys, they love that. They love the fan interaction. You'll get to meet some people from places you've probably never been and may never be able to go. It's an awesome time, guys.
yeah. Yeah, what I've really prioritized with recruitment this year as well, and I have in past, but this year I've really kind of tried to prioritize is the personality of these guys. I'm bringing big personalities, guys that are just going to be absolutely contagious in a good way in this locker room. Guys from countries that I've worked with in the past that I know I can trust, and yeah, well, I'm looking to build something special, and everyone that's coming here, they're all wanting to be a part of something special. They've known that from the beginning, from the initial phone call, from the first couple of conversations that we've had, myself and my staff, and the players that are kind of incoming. They know that they're in store for something special, and they're the kind of guys that are going to help us achieve it.
Oh,
One other returner, though, not a player, but Eli.
Yeah,
Eli's coming
huge.
back. Excited about that. How'd you talk him into coming back?
Take all the players out of it. Eli was my first call, obviously. He's my right hand man. He was absolutely brilliant last year, despite killing the boys in very mundane warm ups, so to speak.
Legendary.
The new players can have that to look forward to with Coach Brown. No, but Eli's he's just a great guy, and he's one of the hardest workers I've met. And he's so professional in what he does. Like I said, as an assistant coach, as a right hand man, he encompasses everything I want from an assistant, and he's been rewarded. I'm sure you guys have seen as well. He's just been named the assistant coach at Felician University in New Jersey, which is a very, very good program. And he's already there. He's there in the spring, and from what I've heard, he's hit the ground running. And I couldn't be more proud of him. He's continuing to progress through his coaching licensure as well. And he's just a professional guy, and he wants to be involved in a professional setup. And like I said, I can't fault the guy. He was my first call, and I like to think that we built a great relationship, and we built something special in this program last year. And to have him back again is just going to be invaluable for the team when we're trying to continue to achieve more and more. And this year, obviously, our heights are set even higher than it was last year. So to have Eli back is massive.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could tell with his character, the way he carried himself, man, the way the guys spoke of him, huge. That's a huge signing.
Yeah. And I'm excited for him, and he's excited to be back. He's put in a lot of work behind the scenes now. He's been helping me with recruitment and just kind of getting everything set and prepared. And he's going to be here, like me, very early in preparation for the summer before the boys start arriving. So, yeah, couldn't be more thrilled to have Eli back.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about promotions, too. You are actually where you're going. You're going to New Hampshire. You're going to be assistant coach up there. Tell us what school, give us a little bit of history, like what this program's about, so we know we need to be watching online while you're up there coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I just accepted a full-time position at Franklin Pierce University in Rindge, New Hampshire. This is a NCAA Division II program, and they are really, really as elite level as it gets. 2022, 2023 back-to-back national champions. Since then, they've never been eliminated before the Sweet 16 at the national tournament. So it's one of the, most consistent Division Two, most consistent program at any level, really. And the story of kind of how I, managed to get this position is quite cool, actually. And I won't explain the entire story, but ultimately it came through a connection I made last summer with Carlos Rubio, who was the head coach at Hickory. So Carlos led Hickory to a national championship, and I want to give him a shout out on here as well. He's just accepted a position. He left he was the head coach of the Division Two program in North Carolina, and he's just left that position to take up a position working with Charlotte FC in the MLS. So that's a huge congratulations to Carlos, and it couldn't be given to a more deserving coach or guy. We formed a connection last summer when our friends from up north knocked us out and then had to go to Hickory to play. I had some very good conversations with Carlos, and we formed a connection there, and we really, we formed a great connection. And one of his former assistants just got promoted to head coach up at Franklin Pierce University, and Carlos said, "I couldn't think of a better guy to go and be your assistant than me." And just by building that connection and making that relationship with another coach that excelled at this level, has enabled me to pursue an opportunity that I've been really, really looking forward to. So that's just the nature of the game here, and that's what I pride myself on, is my relationships, and making sure that at the end of the day, as a coach, you're there to fight, you're there to do whatever it takes to win on the field, but after a game, you got to show sportsmanship, you got to shake hands and move on. And, no matter who I've faced, no matter what we've done, I try and do it, in a graceful way. And at the end of the day, I formed that connection with both Carlos and the rest of the staff at Hickory. And, through that, I was able to get my opportunity in New Hampshire. And so I couldn't be more thankful for that. And Diego Thielen, as the new head coach, newly appointed head coach, for having the trust in me to come up there. And obviously the goal and the expectation is a national championship. And, once I'm up there in the fall, that's exactly what we're going to try and achieve. And I'm very excited. I'm actually headed up there this week so I can close up the spring season up there. We've got some very, very big spring matches that I'm excited to be a part of. And then obviously back to Texas for the summer. But no, Franklin Pierce University is a very renowned school in the world of soccer, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah, congrats, man. We're excited for it.
That's going to be awesome. Speaking of championships and winning leagues and stuff, let's talk about our season. Let's talk about a little bit about what our schedule looks like. Let's talk about some expectations going into the USL2, our first inaugural season. I mean, we've got quite the road ahead here. We've got our schedule pulled up. First game, we're going to play in Denton on, looks like May 23rd.
May 23rd.
Yep, we get to see our friends from Denton back. Is everybody excited?
Our friends, yes.
Yep,
absolutely. Last year was a welcomed, year off from Denton, but I'm excited to see him again. And not only are we seeing him again, we're seeing him again 3 times this summer.
Yep.
So, two of those matches at home. First one away. Actually, no, sorry, we played them twice away and one at home. Yeah. Other way. But no, I'm excited. They're always a challenge. They're always a competitive team. They've obviously announced their new coaching staff as well. So it's a new era for the Diablos, and one that we're not going to take lightly, because they've always been competitive. They've always been in and around the playoffs. They've always been a team pushing to go to to nationals, and I believe they won the NPSL National Championship in 2021. So it's a club that has that kind of history. It's a club that their fans and their community are expected to win, much like ours. So I'm really excited for that to be our opening game in our inaugural USL2 season. I think it's going to be a brilliant challenge.
Yep. Memorial Day weekend.
I'll be in Dallas. Yeah, I'll be in Dallas that weekend, so I'm going to get to go.
Yep.
So it's going to be a good time.
Nice.
Working on getting my stuff set up for that as well. Memorial Day weekend, people, if you want to. Denton's playing in a new stadium this year, if I understand right. It's UNT, their facilities. It's going to be a pretty nice little setup. It'd be a good travel game. Just saying. Y'all want to come hang out with La Tormenta? Where some of us might be at.
Let's go.
Absolutely. And it's, it's going to be a big test for us and our boys. I believe Denton have a couple games actually before that. Their season
Yep.
starts a few weeks before ours does. So you can see that as an advantage and a disadvantage from both parties. You know, they're going to have, some games under their belt, but they're going to have nothing on us. They're not going to know what to kind of expect with West Texas FC. And I think that gives us a little bit of an advantage. But at the end of the day, we've got to show up on the day. And like I said, I can't wait. It's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be a big one.
Oh yeah, this is going to be quite the year with the USL too. I don't think a lot of people realize that there's only one person going to the playoffs from our division, and that's
Yeah.
huge. So every one of these matches is going to count. Everything's going to be 3 points or bust almost.
You know
So
what? I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think that's the way football should be run. A playoff
mhm.
idea, the playoff concept is a very, very American thing to me. You take all the major leagues in Europe, the Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga. Do you think they don't
First
have
place or
playoffs at the end
nothing.
of the day? If you're the most consistent team, the best team throughout the duration of the season, you're champions. Guess what?
Hmm.
That was us last summer. If that was the system in play last summer, it would have been us, And so,
Yep.
um, at the end of the day, I like it. I think that it rewards whoever is the most consistent team. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited for the format when it comes to playoffs. Like you said, though, it means every game's a war, every game's a battle, and you got to do everything you can to get maximum points. And I think that kind of eliminating that playoff picture just makes the
Hmm.
beginning of the season a little bit more important.
Yep.
It makes May 23rd as big as July 11th. It
Yep.
does because, like I said, you can't really afford to drop points too many places along the season. I
No.
believe that, in the 12 games, obviously that's a maximum of 36 points. I think realistically to win the league, you're going to need 28, 29 points minimum. And so
Yep.
that does not leave much room for error.
Nope. That was last year. We had a few bumps in the road. I mean, draw here, loss there, stuff we felt like
Early.
shouldn't have happened. Can't have that this year. It's going to be a fist fight, especially when you look at our second game of the season against our neighbors to the north.
The big
First,
L's.
first of three, first of three.
Yeah.
We get them twice at home, and then we close the regular season out up there. So that one's going to be a battle like it always is. I mean, it's a
In
rivalry game
my,
for a
you know,
reason.
in my head, and I love the schedule in the sense of, I hope the playoff system, the regular season, I hope that's well and truly taken care of before that last game of the season. And that's
Well,
that I don't want it to come down to that last day. I think USL2 did it on purpose.
yes.
They love to reward a rivalry like that, and at the end of the day,
Well,
Lubbock is our biggest rivals, and every time we play them, it's a battle. And we love that as a coach. I love being a part of games like that. The players
mhm.
I'm bringing in absolutely love being a part of games like that, and I'm sure that the Lubbock staff and the Lubbock players have that similar mindset. So whether it's May 30 in the second game of the season for us, or it's July 11th on the last day of the season, it's going to be an all-out bloodbath. And
Yep.
I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. We're going to be ready for it, and there's a lot at stake, and we're going to be ready.
Yep.
How
And
quick in
that's
the player recruiting process do you bring up El Dustico? Is that on the phone call or wait till they get back here to let them know how big of a deal that
You know
is?
what? A lot of these players already know about it. I don't even have to mention it. If they're aware of it, whether they've spoken to players from last season or they've done their research online. I don't even need to tell them. So it's they understand the importance of El Dustico, and they understand that whatever it takes, El Dustico stays at Tall City after this
Mhm.
summer. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
How big of a factor is that little sidebar of these players knowing other players that have played here in your recruitment? Because I mean, it seems like somebody always knows somebody. Scotty knows a guy, this guy knows a guy, that guy knows a guy. You know?
Yeah, well, it's huge. And honestly, I love it because for me, when it comes to my recruitment, I go through 3 stages. First is the initial highlight stage. But yes, a player can make themselves look fantastic on a highlight video.
Oh yeah.
That's not enough for me to sign a player. Okay. The second part is to watch a full game. If I can watch a full game, then I can actually see mistakes, see areas of the game that potentially can be improved. And then the third bit is forming connections with people that have seen these players play or that can speak highly of these players. There's nothing I trust more than a coach or a player that comes to me and says, "Coach, like I know this player. this is what he can offer, this and that. And then when I follow that up with another conversation with their actual coach and they say the same things, that's almost all I need. You know, the validation from people I trust, people I respect. I spoke about it earlier, the importance of relationships in this sport, in this game. And it's the same with recruitment, with bringing these boys in. You know, I can tell, you know, from an initial phone call and from some highlights and some video and some film, if I'm going to be interested, if I want to sign them, if they're going to be a good prospective player. But at the end of the day, more than that, I trust people that I trust. So once I have those conversations with people that I respect and trust within the game, then I usually make my decision.
Love it. Love it. Yep. So let's move on to the second of our 3-game homestand, starting the season off. We got newcomer to our new conference, Texoma FC, was USL 1 last year. Quite an interesting club there. So we get to see some new faces going to play this one.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm really excited. The strength of this conference is absurd. It really is. This newly, you know, aligned Ranger division is, although one of the smallest conferences in the country, I guarantee all 6 teams that are competing in this conference will push for first or second in most conferences across the country. It is competitive. You've got brand new organizations. You've got teams that have consistently been kind of the top level of the summer league, which is, you know, us and Lubbock, and Fort Worth are obviously always very, very competitive. And, you know, another shout out here to Tony Marola, the head coach of Fort Worth. He's brilliant. He's done a great job there. You know, he's one of the longest standing coaches in the summer, and, you know, rightly so. What he does there at that club is very impressive, and they're going to be another challenge. Then you throw in Denton, who won a national championship 5-6 years ago. And then you got 2 new teams, McKinney and Texoma. Texoma, as you just said, USL 1 last year, a fully formed professional team. So, you know, the level's just going to be high. Every single game's going to be a battle, and, you know, we can't wait. But yeah, Texoma is going to be, it's going to be I'm glad we're playing them at home first, so we can kind of suss that, you know, and I've heard it's going to be, you know, quite a fun, exciting place to play. Obviously, being a USL 1 team, as far as I'm aware from what I've seen, is a lot of that fan base, they're sticking around. Doesn't matter that they've kind of transitioned from USL 1 to USL 2. So I'm expecting a very professional environment, very professional supporting base and group when we go to Texoma. So I'm excited to play them at home first.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then we follow up with the McKinney Chupacabras, another new one. And then we kind of ping pong around back and forth there. So McKinney just hired a new coach. I saw that. They seem to have a really good turnout in most of their matches. If I saw that right, they have a pretty good fan following.
Very good.
Correct there?
Good. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So, they I think they averaged 4,000 or 5,000 last year to each of their home games, and they're loud, they're boisterous. So it's going to be another really fun environment for us as a team to go and play in. But first, they get to come to Midland. So
get to come visit us. So it's going to be great. We're going to be very hospitable, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll try to be nice. But yeah, so then we flip flop. We go back, go see Texoma, go see McKinney. Hopefully, I can make those games. I'll be in the area. And then we get to see Fort Worth. We talked about Fort Worth. We get to see them again, so it's going to be another back and forth with them, I'm sure.
Yep.
And then we're kind of bouncing around back and forth, home games, away games, until the end of the season. Got some challenges ahead, guys. I mean, it's going to be difficult, like you said, Scotty, but I really do think that with the team it looks like you're putting together, we're going to have a great shot at this thing. I'm really hopeful we're moving on and, you know, seeing what the playoffs in the USL is like at the end of this season.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm sure you guys have all seen the footage of you know, the games when you get really deep in the postseason in USL 2. Obviously, last year's championship game between Vermont and Ballard was, you know, a very good indicator of what, you know, the passion for football, even at this level, can be. And you know, there are USL 2 clubs that it's just mind-blowing. It looks like a fully fledged first division professional game. The environment, the fans, the support, and, you know, we're building as a club. We're getting to where we want to be, and you know, where I want to be and where all my players that I'm bringing in want to be is playing in those environments against teams like that, and basically just putting our name and our badge on the national stage. And to do that, we got to get out of this conference first and foremost, and that's all that we're prioritizing. That's all that the target is escaping this Ranger division, and really just doing whatever we can to get out and then really have a crack on the national stage. You know, we've grown to expect to win. You know, obviously the last few years at West Texas FC, we've had a lot of success, and this year it's just not going to be any different. And you know, I'm excited for the challenges ahead, and I think that, you know, we are very equipped to do something special.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
Yep.
Look at the schedule. I'm getting pumped. I mean, it's a lot of games and not a lot of time, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's say, how
Now,
hard is it to go from like a Thursday to a Saturday? Because I mean, we play on July 1st and then 3rd. How hard? I mean, does that affect how you play the games or?
It highlights the importance of squad depth. I can't rely on the same 11 guys, you know, every single match this summer. This is where the squad depth becomes so important. And, you know, when we play on a Thursday, I can't realistically expect my back four that played 90 minutes in that game to step foot on the field and play 90 minutes on Saturday. It's just not possible. And that comes down to the trust I have in the rest of the squad. You know, I'm bringing 25 guys in, all of which, you know, I can trust to start. And so, you know, that squad depth is just going to be critical, particularly in those couple little away stretches where we've got 2 games in 48 hours. You know, rotation's going to be huge. You know, and again, it comes down to maintaining the relationship with the players and having those honest, transparent conversations about how they're feeling, how they're doing, and making sure that, you know, they're being truthful to me about their body, about what they need, about if they need rest, if they need, you know, if they're fine, you know, and like, I like to have those conversations before and after games. You know, I'm very, very transparent. I'm very much an open door policy kind of coach. And, you know, I like to have those conversations with guys to make sure I know where they're at. And, you know, it's none more important than those kind of back-to-back away games. And like I said, it just comes down to squad depth and having the trust in every single player that's representing West Texas FC, not just the first starting 11.
that's awesome. Yep. Now, if we win majority of our games, do we have a chance for home playoff games here, kind of like we did a couple years ago? So if we, let's say, just speculating, if we went undefeated, we'd have a better chance of having possibly that Lone Star versus Ranger division here in Midland.
Definitely. Yeah, I believe so. I'd have to double check the rules, but yeah, I believe Vermont last summer went undefeated. That's why they hosted the national final. They didn't lose a game all year, and so obviously they earned the right to host that game. And I think that it's the exact same. If we were to have a very successful Ranger Division campaign, I think we'd be in a good position to host whatever comes next. But that's that conversation's a long way in the future.
Oh yeah,
you know, we got a lot to take care of before I worry about that.
I have so many questions about USL 2 and trying to get information where I can. So I figured I had you on the spot. I was ready to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. What's the thing you're most excited for this season, man? I mean, is it the new players? Is it the new schedule? Is it USL 2? Is it just coming back to Midland? I mean, you tell me. What's your thing? What's got you excited this season?
I just want to continue seeing the growth and development of my boys. Honestly, like I love this team and I love winning trophies. You know, no matter what I do, I'm going to go into it with a winning mentality. But at the end of the day, 99% of my boys play at college. They're aspiring professionals. So for me as a head coach at this level, pre-professionally, I'm just trying to get them where they need to be. You know, I like to use this as not a stepping stone, but, you know, an opportunity for 2.5, 3 months where I can really, really focus on each individual and develop them as much as I can. Now, the returning players, I've already had that experience and I know how coachable they are. But I'm just excited for the new boys to come in and you know, really try and make a lasting impact on them. You know, like I said, relationships are everything to me. So, you know, I want to win football games and I promise you we're going to win a lot this summer. But at the end of the day, you know, there are other important things involved with this game and this sport and these young men. They're at a critical age, college age, trying to decide what they're going to do with their life. You know, I put myself in their shoes. I remember like it was yesterday when I was at that level and how stressful it can be and how many questions arise and how much uncertainty can kind of cloud you. And, you know, so to be able to be a positive influence and a positive role model and coach to these guys, that's the most rewarding thing for me. That's why I'm coming back. That's why it's my 3rd year. And so, you know, being able to be that kind of impact in these guys' lives is huge for me. And it goes well beyond the football field. It's way more than that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you
Yeah.
got us ready to run through a wall.
Yep, you had a couple of your guys go from JUCO to D1 this year. You got Beto and Adam. I
Mhm.
mean, going up to big things, man. I mean, that's cool to see in the offseason. I try to keep up with a bunch of these guys when they go and when they do and playing, wherever they're playing. Watch
Yep.
some of the playoffs this year from what I could.
Mhm.
But man,
Yep.
it's fun to watch these guys grow and get better and become better footballers all the way around. Like even watching like Cole Worthmuller playing over New Zealand now.
Yep.
Some of that stuff's crazy. He just got
Absolutely.
man of the match in his last match. That was crazy.
It was actually the first game of the season for his new club, and he just ran the show,
Mm.
from what I heard. So, I'd expect that. I'd expect nothing less from that guy. I expect nothing less from most of the boys that come through. Yeah, another one again we can shout out is Alberto. He's obviously was MVP of the conference, rightly deserved. Last year, he earned a very good move to Coastal Carolina University, and he was obviously one of the first guys I called. And he's exploring opportunities back in his home country in Spain this summer, which I'll never ever hold against him trying to pursue those opportunities and doing what he needs to do for him. And like you said as well, but he's made a fantastic move. Adam as well, committing to Utah Valley University, another very very highly regarded Division I program. So these guys are going on to big things, and to be a small part to play in that journey is why I do what I do. So, and obviously guys like Adam, he's coming back as well. Alberto, I believe, would have come back if he didn't have this opportunity in Spain. So, doing what I can for these guys and them doing the same for me.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome to see, man. And talking to the players and stuff, they love you. They love playing for you, and that's what, like you said, Zach, run through a wall for you. We talked about that on the podcast a few times last year. You've got them hyped up. You've got our fan club hyped up. We're ready to go.
Good. Me too. And you know what? I'd run through a wall for every single one of my players. So, I'd do anything for them. I'm the first one to put my hand up and take responsibility for a loss. But I'm the first one to put my hand up and give them the acceptance when we win, because it's them. They're the ones it's all about. They're the ones that deserve the recognition, the applause. And I just can't wait to see what they can achieve together as a group this summer.
That's awesome, man.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to see y'all walking down the ramp coming on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Just can't come soon enough.
Yep. Well, Zach, you got any more questions for Scotty?
No, I think I'm good. Other than how's Australia going to do come World Cup time? How y'all looking?
We're going to beat the US and get out of the group very comfortably. That much I know for sure. So we just released our jersey. I know, Brian, you showed me the other day the US released their jerseys.
I need to see this.
Clean. They're clean. But Australia, we released ours like an hour and a half ago. I've already put my order in. I cannot bloody wait. So it's gonna. I think our group is very competitive with the Australia and the US. And I think it's going to be very competitive. Obviously, I was going to do everything I could to get up to Seattle and watch the US-Australia game, but obviously my commitments here in West Texas kind of, trump that opportunity, and that's just life. But no, I'm excited. I think we, in an ideal world, let's have US and Australia get through that group. I think it would be great.
Those away kits are nice.
These are nice.
Not that USA away kit, but
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be competitive. I really feel like World Cup's going to be crazy, for all of our squads. I can't wait to talk to some of the other guys too, to talk to them about their World Cup teams and see who's going where and who's got what to say. I mean, hell, you brought 4 or 5 Aussies on, and you're going to be overloading the team with Aussie propaganda.
I've got a few English as well, and I'm just fed up with hearing it's coming home shit. But I'm going to get that this summer from all my English boys as well, I'm sure. So.
They're going to be mad at me when I go see England versus Croatia, because I'm not rooting for England. So
they'll be jealous. Regardless. That'll be a cracking game to go to.
Oh, dude, it's going to be a time. It's going to be a time.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
Scott, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I just appreciate you guys having me on again, and hopefully we can continue to build this. And anytime you want me or the players to jump on, like I said, we love you guys as a supporters group. We love what you do for the club. We wouldn't be where we are without you guys. And let's just keep this momentum rolling from now until May.
Yeah, so we appreciate all y'all. And say that's part of the summer. So,
dude, awesome. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be such a great time.
Yeah, big things ahead. It's gonna be exciting.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign us off then. We're La Tormenta. This is the Gaffer, Scotty. We're looking forward to this USL Season 2. We'll see you all on the
See you
next one.
guys.
See y'all later.